Hi, I'm Greg Howlett. I want to take just a minute and talk to you about a chord that's called a full diminished chord or a diminished seventh chord. Another chord that's pretty useful. We use it a lot in music. For example, if you know the song "Great Is Thy Faithfulness," right there at the end of the song, that is a diminished chord. And by the way, the more you know this chord, the more you'll probably use it in your music. It's a really neat sound. Now, when we say a diminished seventh, we're referring to, first of all, the diminished sound, but the seventh means it's going to be a four-note chord. There's going to be four notes in the chord. Now, to make a diminished chord, there's really only two, well, let's see. I'm just going to I'll give you two easy ways to figure out what a diminished chord is, starting on any note on the piano. First of all, you basically have three intervals between the four notes, right? You have an interval between the first two notes, an interval between the next two notes, and then one last interval. Each one of those intervals consists of three half steps. A half step simply means moving from one note on the piano to the very next note. That note may be black, it may be white, but if you're on G, if you're going to move up a half step, you move to A flat, okay? So if you're going to move three half steps, you'd go to A flat, A, and then B flat. Three half steps. So a diminished seventh simply consists of four notes. Each note is three half steps apart. Okay, so starting on C, go up three half steps. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you go to E flat, three more, F sharp, and then A. So there is your chord. Hear it? It's as simple as that. You have four notes. Each note is separated by three half steps. Three half steps. Or, for some of you, you may think of those as minor thirds. A minor third, which is a name we call an interval, which consists of three half steps. Now, let me show you something really cool about diminished chords before I leave you. Diminished chords are really interesting. Here's one thing that you need to know. There's really, I don't know that you need to know this, but it's interesting. There's really only three diminished chords. There's this one, and that one. Now, you might say, well, that you just showed me C diminished, and you showed me D flat, and you showed me D, full diminished chords. But here's the thing. If you take a C diminished chord and invert it, take the bottom note, the C, and put it on top, now you have E flat diminished chord. An E flat full diminished. Go up and take this note and put it on top again, and you have F sharp diminished. In other words, every time you invert a diminished chord, you build the chord that's a third away, a minor third away. So, if you just learn three diminished chords, for example, if you learn C diminished, you really also know E flat full diminished, F sharp diminished, and A full diminished. Okay, when I say full diminished, again, really I'm just referring to a four-note diminished chord. So that's four. Now remember, there's 12 notes on the piano. I just showed you 1, 2, 3, 4, and showed you why they're all really the same chord. Same thing goes for D flat. There's D flat diminished, but if you invert it, you have this, which is also E diminished, which is also G diminished, which is also B flat diminished. So there are four more of the 12 possibilities. And then the same thing goes for D as well. There are the other four. Makes sense? So there's really only three diminished chords that you need to learn, and then you just invert them, and you make up all the rest of the chords. Learn C, D flat, and D, and you can easily build by inverting. You can build diminished chords starting on any other note on the keyboard. That can be a little confusing. Long term, you'll sort of see why that's important as you go down the road of learning. But at the moment, it just may be useful trivia that you can pull out at a party or something, I don't know. But that's all for diminished chords.